This is Part 2 Episode 156. Luo Feng's second battle began. Luo Feng felt the land and skies warp before stepping on the ground. He looked around. This was a desolate world, with a glance. If it weren't ditches in the ground, it was many tall and short dark red mountains. He looked up in the distance. There he saw the vast space, even a close-by planet. Planet environment. It feels like the air is incredibly thin here, probably a place where life cannot be supported. The planet's gravity was only 2/3 of Earth's gravity. Luo Feng immediately deduced. On the desolate planet, Luo Feng was dressed in a dark red armor, carrying a dark golden long rod on his back and standing on the dark cloud shuttle. He instantly flew into the sky. Over there. Luo Feng could clearly feel a huge energy in the distance. He immediately stepped on the dark cloud shuttle, swiftly passing the many mountains and chasing down his target. After a few seconds, the flying Luo Feng spotted a gold silhouette below, standing on the peak of a mountain. It's him. Luo Feng swiftly slowed down and floated above in mid-air. Luo Feng. Mo Luo, who was completely covered in gold armor, his eyes filled with flames and rage. Today I'll let you know that the Primal Region members are stronger than the Absolute Beginning members, and much stronger. Anyone who dares challenge the position of the Primal Region members will be decisively put down. Mo Luo, who had entered his battle mode, was no longer his usual meek self. What he was a madness like a wild beast. Ah, really? Luo Feng smiled coldly at the distant gold silhouette. A shameless punk like you, you sure have grandeur about you. You are the shameless one. Mo Luo roared. Luo Feng's expression grew heavy. After everything, Mo Luo still shamelessly kept up his shameless act. Make your move, otherwise you won't even have the chance to do anything. Luo Feng looked coldly at the distant Mo Luo. Arrogant. Mo Luo looked up at Luo Feng in mid-air on his dark cloud shuttle. He roared as he rushed into space instantly. His stomp caused the stone mountain to shake, after which it began to crumble, countless stone fragments rolling and flying in all directions. Mo Luo instantly reached Luo Feng. Rumble. A punch that was almost like a burning meteorite. Even the space surrounding it had ripples. He aimed it straight at Luo Feng. Luo Feng stood on his dark cloud shuttle and coldly looked at everything. As Mo Luo's powerful punch was reaching him, Luo Feng's initial cold eyes instantly gleamed. A terrifying consciousness pressure attacked Mo Luo. That pressure, comparable to an early-stage sector lord, made even Sa Jin back then completely stunned. Rumble. Mo Luo's face instantly went pale. The wonders in his origin lore-infused punch was affected. What, his consciousness pressure, is that terrifying? Just what miraculous encounters has he had, to have such terrifying consciousness? Consciousness strength represents the strength of his soul, and the soul is the core of the life. If his soul is that strong, wouldn't walking the path of a spirit reader make him even stronger? Impossible. Mo Luo fiercely roared, his expression struggled, his eyes bloodshot. He looked up and stared at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, die. He rushed into the sky, both his hands forming claws, one slight ahead of the other. In an instant the entire space was affected, after which as his claws warped before his chest, immediately, the law energies about were all affected. Rumble. A four-clawed ferocious beast image that was over 30 meters long appeared outside his body. The beast was skinny. From a glance it was similar to a ravenous wolf. Only peculiar thing was that it had two black horns on its forehead. Both his claws was where the fangs were on this fierce beast. Howl. Mo Luo's expression was struggled. He rushed into the sky and straight at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, who was high in the sky, gazed down below at Mo Luo, who was rushing over. He revealed a cold smile and ordered softly, "Blade World." The dark golden long rod on his back immediately shot out countless little golden lights. They in turn shot out countless golden threads that interconnected, every one ever so fine and thin. The land and skies changed abruptly into a vast blade world. Blade World. Howl. Mo Luo's energy soared as he rushed at Luo Feng. Die. Luo Feng said coldly. Immediately, he gathered threads of dark gold blade energy before him. When the first was condensed, it swiftly shot at Mo Luo. After which the second condensed thread of blade energy followed behind. Simultaneously, the third was already in process of gathering. Child's play. Mo Luo roared. He moved his right claw, making the beast image look like it fiercely opened its big mouth wide. Rumble. The right claw slashed at the first blade energy. The entire beast image slightly shook. The blade energy, however, was dispersed. Ha ha, I'll definitely win. Mo Luo's eyes were filled with madness. While he was normally meek and calm, during a true battle, he was a living beast, without any humanity. Mo Luo's expression changed. Rumble. The second thread of blade energy pierced at him, he once again blocked it. Rumble. The third thread of bad energy. The fourth thread of blade energy. The fifth thread. Almost like continuous bullets, wave after wave. Mo Luo used his technique and fought with his life to defend against the fourth thread. The wood, fire and space laws that his technique used to form the beast image had completely been dispersed. When that was gone, he naturally couldn't block anymore. The fifth thread of blade energy pierced right through Mo Luo's palm, and after that straight through his chest, revealing a bloody cavity. Simultaneously, the force of the attack knocked him fiercely downwards. The many threads of blade energy rushed and pierced right through his body one after another, causing him to fall further. No. Mo Luo's eyes were bloodshot, his mouth filled with fresh blood. Another thread of blade energy pierced right through his face, immediately destroying his consciousness. Rumble. Mo Luo's body that was already filled with holes and injuries was finally knocked back down onto the surface of that stone planet, with a huge rumble. A huge ring-shaped ditch with a diameter of about 10 kilometers was formed. There in the center was where his body landed. The blade world automatically dispersed. Countless gold lights returned to the dark golden long rod on Luo Feng's back. Luo Feng slowly descended. He gazed at the huge ring-shaped ditch and the tattered and torn body of Mo Luo in the center. You are only a little stronger than Bolin. If I simply used 3 or 4 threads of blade energy together, I would have killed you instantly. However, I didn't do so. I used them one at a time and you were still guaranteed death. Second battle, Luo Feng against Mo Luo. Luo Feng won. Results: 2 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. Luo Feng was teleported out. During the absolute beginning matches earlier, Luo Feng had noticed that he was already too much stronger than Sa Jin, Ge and Ni Nan. He wasn't weaker than them before the demon note inheritance. Now that his spirit energy amplitude had risen over 20 times, it was simply decimation. The chemist Yu Feng was hard to deal with mainly because he had mysterious drugs. Chemists were very special. A strong warrior may not necessarily be more durable than a weak person. It only meant that in terms of possibility, those able to withstand the chemists were usually stronger. Other than chemist Yu Feng being hard to deal with, he had no way of dealing with Wolfman Kuluo Fu. Bolin, he used only a portion of his power and settled it. To display his respect, he didn't overpower him too much. That would be bullying. Mo Luo. He bullied him all the way. Within the quiet study, Mo Luo was curled up like a cat. He grabbed his head as he muttered, "How can this be? I actually lost without any ability to defend, killed by the wave after wave of blade energy." He can already simultaneously unleash 4 to 5 threads of blade energy. How can his improvement be that huge? Back during his fight with Sa Jin, he could only condense 1 thread of blade energy. And he only recently passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. It's only been 6 years since he passed the 7th level. 6 years. Mo Luo's expression was filled with pain. He closed his eyes and muttered, his improvement in 6 years is so huge. That Bolin only passed the 7th level 2 years ago, but I've checked his information before. I've seen his footage from the Genius competition, very obviously back then he could already unleash over 10,000 images in movement, just in terms of space laws. He was already terrifying back then. The only thing was he tried to focus on both space and time. Hence he lagged behind and his improvement was slow. Right now he's focusing on space as his main. The reserves and training from the recent 200 years have come to fruit, hence he very quickly passed the 7th level. He quickly comprehended and turned all these 200 years of training into strength. His shocking improvement, I understand. But Luo Feng, what's going on with him? In the vast universe, everything has a reason. He cannot be absurdly strong for no reason at all. Mo Luo closed his eyes in pain as he curled there, muttering non-stop. Luo Feng was still very weak during the genius battles, but he kept improving. Every bit of his training he had already turned into strength. He shouldn't have had such a sudden jump in improvement. Why? Curled up in his study, Mo Luo fiercely opened his eyes and used all his limbs to slam the ground, his eyes bloodshot, expression struggled. Ha ha. I've lost. Losing this round means I've lost the entire contest battles. I've been kicked into the absolute beginning region. I've been kicked out. Mo Luo fell on the floor helplessly, almost lying flat in the study. He talked while his eyes filled with tears, almost like a madman. The contest battle had 6 participants, and only one slot. Only the strongest would acquire the slot. Hence, the moment one lost a match, there was no more hope. After a while, Mo Luo stood back up, almost like a wolf licking its wounds, and fully recovered. His eyes were filled with endless ambition. I've only temporarily been kicked into the absolute beginning region. There's still the next qualification battles. If I can't make it in the universe level, there's still the domain lord level. I, Mo Luo, will definitely become the strongest. No one can obstruct my path, no one. Mo Luo roared softly. At this time, Mo Luo didn't even know that the reason behind Luo Feng's great rise in strength was because of his kick back then. His kick was intended to rid himself of a threat, however it resulted in him making Luo Feng becoming his greatest obstacle. The Virtual Universe Company's universe-level core members' qualification battles happen every 100 years. The battles that draw the most attention were without doubt the contest battles for the Primal Region slot. Firstly, there was only one slot every time, allowing one member to enter. Secondly, the title Primal Region member was something that every core genius fought hard for and wished they had. Beautiful victory. The Ganwu Universe country's Luo Feng won again. His record is already 3 wins, 0 draws and 0 losses. Within a restaurant of Yuseong Mountain's public region, many geniuses had screens opened up before them. On it displayed Luo Feng's match against Long Yun. They all discussed loudly. To these geniuses that faced their contest battles in the last phase and sky and land regions, the Primal Region slot contest battles were definitely the pinnacle of matches. Of course they all anticipated them and wished to see who actually made the breakthrough. Before this match had even begun, about 100% of the core members had already determined Luo Feng would win without a doubt, and the result was just as they had expected. Luo Feng very cleanly won the battle easily. Luo Feng didn't even need to unleash the Blade World to defeat Long Yun. Just the totem pillar would have been enough. Long Yun is simply too much weaker than him. This batch 6 people in the contest battles, the weakest is Long Yun. Luo Feng had indeed expected too much from Long Yun earlier. What do you know? Long Yun and Luo Feng are from the same batch of genius competition. They were comrades then and maybe even good friends normally. Even if he was 100% set to win, giving the opponent respect is also a form of grace. Sitting around the dining table, a silver-skinned youth with a few hundred pigtails said. Others within the restaurant all suddenly made a noise. This contest battle, up till now, within the 6, only 2 have not had a loss. Luo Feng and Luo Fu, they both haven't lost. The one entering the Primal Region this time should be from the 2 of them. Everybody guess. Who will be the one to get that Primal Region slot? The restaurant grew even rowdier, as the geniuses from the many universe countries all discussed fervently. Obviously most of them favored the Wolfman, Luo Fu. Sitting right in the center of the restaurant, a shockingly fat, red-eyed man with a huge mouth laughed loudly. Luo Feng. He'll definitely lose to Luo Fu. What's more, he may not even get past Yu Feng. Luo Feng's 4th match was against the chemist Yu Feng. Chemist Yu Feng. The restaurant instantly got silent. It wasn't that Yu Feng's power was huge, but the chemist's power was something that made the geniuses shudder within. 3 battles, 3 wins. At this point, Bolan, Long Yun, Mo Luo and Yu Feng all had losses. Only he and Luo Fu were still winning. I have to beat Yu Feng. After I defeat Yu Feng, I'll have 4 consecutive wins. Luo Feng thought. Then I'll fight it out and give my everything against Luo Fu. If I lose I'll stay in the absolute beginning region. If I win I'll enter the Primal Region. Yu Feng. Luo Feng sat before his desk and looked at the screen on his laptop. On it displayed large amounts of information on chemists. Actually, there were many special routes and paths within the vast universe for humanity. The known fighter and spirit reader was simply the most basic and most common of all. There were specialists that controlled puppets, a puppeteer, beast tamers that used strong beasts to battle, chemists that studied the many peculiar materials in the universe. These were all special professions that allowed the weak to battle the strong. For example, if one tamed an extra powerful beast, naturally his power would be strong too. However, the development pathways for such specialists were a lot more narrow and tougher to reach the top. Many warriors that had poor comprehension of the laws would rather try these specialization. However, these may not be the right path. The percentage of failures exceeded over 99.99999%. It could be said that rising up from these specialization paths was simply too hard. The chemists, named the universe researchers. They would study the many peculiar and strange materials in the universe, their many special properties and dissect them, later using their own methods to go through their many and infinite details, finally creating drugs that suited their style of attack. These drugs were all forms and styles, be it powder, a grain of sand, a flower, a tree, or even a blade. Anyway, the chemists' drugs were extremely peculiar and unpredictable. As for strength, they varied. Due to their life evolution, the universe-level warriors could fight even on white dwarf stars, ignoring cosmic rays, the strong magnetic field, the extreme high temperatures, and the destruction from the high gravity. It could be said that their life force was extremely tenacious. Hence, to actually harm a warrior of that level with drugs was a very hard thing to do. However, there's ultimately people who succeed. There may be some universe-level chemist who managed to create a drug that was a threat even to undyings. There were such cases in the history of the universe. Of course, these were rare and hard to find. Even if one knew the way to create the drugs, simply following the steps was still very hard to succeed. The process for making the drugs was simply too complex. Even to the point where the creator of the drugs may not be able to replicate their own results a second time. A chemist, in summary, a research-type warrior that studies and creates drugs. Just like several natural occurrences, like some mists in the universe's secret regions that can even put an undying to sleep, these mists were like natural drugs, as long as one studied and the storage and release techniques. It could be used in battle. However, the danger of containing and controlling it was harder. The chemist's strength lies in his drugs. Luo Feng frowned. I beat him before, but that doesn't mean I will definitely win again. I have to be alert. Luo Feng, your fourth contest battles for the primal region slot is about to begin. Your opponent is Yu Feng. The virtual universe system's voice rang in his ears. A powerful energy immediately engulfed Luo Feng. He was transported to the arena. In an extra-huge laboratory that took up over 30,000 square meters, automaton laboratory, living laboratory, energy region, nurture region, many different regions, with all sorts of apparatus about, millions of pieces of equipment, Yu Feng's eyes were filled with excitement and anticipation, his spirit energy was controlling and mixing the drug. Luo Feng's consciousness pressure is shocking, hence the best way to deal with a spirit reader normally, which is to use a drug that invades his soul, that would have poor results with him. Then, I'll affect his soul through his body. I've already failed 1,892 times. I have to succeed this time. Yu Feng retrieved his drug's most basic ingredient, the fish crystal liquid, and swiftly mixed it. Actually, since his loss to Luo Feng earlier in the qualification battles, he swiftly understood the mistake from that battle. According to his deduction, with the fish crystal liquid, he should be able to produce a stronger drug than before. The previous battle, he used fish crystal number 18 and successfully defeated Bolin. Right now he was studying fish liquid 19. Only 0.0001 seconds, if I miss the timing, it will disperse. Yu Feng didn't even hesitate, continuing like lightning, or slow like a breeze as he mixed the drugs. It required genetic energy and spirit energy to mix. These were also the reasons why the drugs from a chemist's weren't something normal people dared to mess with. If they didn't know the technique and used the drugs, they may affect themselves. Suddenly a shade of pink appeared in the air ahead. The pink slowly returned to colorless, almost like there was nothing. Simultaneously, a black round ball on the table changed in an instant into a pink ball. I've finally succeeded. Yu Feng extended his hand and grabbed that pink ball. In reality, I've actually long succeeded in making this fish crystal 19. However, the rules in the virtual universe system are troublesome. He shook his head. A fighter and spirit reader could retrieve whatever weapons and armor they needed easily. However, a chemist had no way to request for drugs like that. They could only request the ingredients and materials, and each of the materials had to be below one mixed element. Whatever drugs he wanted to use, it had to be something he could create within the virtual universe, otherwise he wouldn't be allowed to use it. This was to guard against cheating. Yu Feng, your fourth contest battle for the primal region slot is about to begin. Your opponent is Luo Feng. The virtual universe system's voice rang in his ears. Only then did Yu Feng let out a sigh of relief. He had just finished this drug 19 a moment before the battle was about to begin. His luck was indeed good. He was transported away. The winds howled like demon cries. Sand flew about in the skies. The land and skies were vast and blurry. Luo Feng stood in the sky, dressed in dark red armor. The extreme wind and sand in the skies blew hard at his hair. Newbie. A black silhouette appeared in mid-air in the distance. He too stood on a flying weapon. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and looked at the black-robed Yu Feng. He could only see his incredibly calm eyes. Any chemist was either extremely calm or extremely passionate. otherwise they wouldn't be able to deal with the many failures while researching their drugs. You won the last time. Back then I sent you a mail, saying you wouldn't be so lucky the next time. Yu Feng's voice was agitated. Indeed, at the last moment before this battle I finally finished my drug 19, it's my luck and your downfall. Cut the crap. Luo Feng's eyes were excited. Chemist. His experience with chemists were few. Luo Feng did have a sense of respect to those of the profession. To be able to be a chemist and lead, they were all incredible people. Let's fight. Luo Feng howled. Rumble. Immediately countless gold lights shot in all directions. Immediately the sand in the skies all vanished, becoming an endless blade world. The white vast blade world had countless blade energy that were like fish revolving within, and Luo Feng was the god of this blade world. The only ruler. Condense. In an instant 5 threads of blade energy had condensed before Luo Feng, every one of them taking the shape of a blade. Ha ha ha. The black-robed Yu Feng laughed loudly. Simultaneously countless black threads shot out in all directions from his body. He used his spirit energy to control the countless threads to form a net that aimed to wrap about Luo Feng. Go. Just as Luo Feng was about to send his blade energy to attack, he suddenly felt piercing pain throughout his body. Even though the pain was still within Luo Feng's threshold, that sort of piercing pain swiftly permeated into his head. Even his brain felt the effects of it. Waves and waves of radioactive piercing pain. Almost like countless ants biting within his brain. Even a universe-level genius whose willpower wasn't strong enough wouldn't be able to withstand it. These were all secondary. The most important thing was consciousness. One's consciousness was deep within the brain. A universe-level soul too was within that consciousness. A body simulated within the virtual universe was naturally a typical normal body, hence in the network, Luo Feng's weak point was his consciousness. The pain had spread throughout his brain and permeated into his consciousness, causing it to shudder within. Even though drug 19's attack on the body is weaker, it is stronger against the brain and its mental effect reaches an absolute level. Naturally it can affect the consciousness, and once that's done, a spirit reader will definitely fall. Flying in the distance on his weapon, Yu Feng's eyes gleamed. He pointed straight at Luo Feng. Go and die. Immediately countless threads were like sharp blades rushing at Luo Feng. No matter how much of a genius one was, this body was a normal universe level 9 body simulated by the virtual universe company. It would definitely be instantly destroyed. Against the overwhelming number of blades, Luo Feng's eyes went cold. Subdue. His powerful willpower caused his soul to become like a rock. Even if his consciousness was shaken, he used his willpower and consciousness to forcefully control his spirit energy. Almost like a general using his ability to direct his soldiers to steady a ship in turbulent waters. Simultaneously controlling his genetic energy and spirit energy to madly enter his body and destroy the poison. Even if the skies and lands are destroyed, nothing will affect me. Rumble. Luo Feng, on his dark cloud shuttle, left behind an image and swiftly dodged, simultaneously controlling his blade world to attack, affecting the countless black threads, his eyes raging as he shouted, Yu Feng, die. Rumble. 5 translucent dark golden blade-shaped condensed blade energies, like 5 golden rainbows tore through the skies and shot at the black-robed man. While it shot out, the 5 rainbows melded with the universe space laws. Visible ripples could be seen by the naked eye in the surroundings. The blade world formed in the space had formed an incredibly powerful pressuring effect. Blade world, it was that shocking. How could he get over it so easily? Just how terrifying his is willpower and consciousness. The black-robed Yu Feng's eyes stared, filled with disbelief. The threads of blade energy, like lasers, shot through his body over and over. Fresh blood stained his black robes. His body fell directly from mid-air, his eyes still filled with disbelief. As a chemist, researcher and creator, he was very clear on his drug's effects, even to the point where he tested the drugs on himself. He couldn't even suppress the effects of drug 18, much less drug 19. Luo Feng, however, suppressed it completely. That torn and tattered body landed in the sand. Luo Feng landed beside. Unless your drugs are able to pierce right through my mental state and make my consciousness rumble, they can never affect me. The virtual universe system transported Luo Feng out. Luo Feng's 4th match, against the chemist Yu Feng, victory. Result: 4 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses. In the universe, it was indeed possible for a drug to completely pierce through one's mental state and make one's consciousness crumble immediately. To reach a stage where it can make a universe level 9 warrior's consciousness crumble, the process of creation was extremely difficult. And it must be a contraband drug. If one could produce it on a large scale, then there would be no point in having the universe soldiers in the wars outside the star fields. The universe was after all fair. It gave chemists the ability to create heavenly drugs that were extremely powerful, yet it also made their path extremely difficult. The overpowering drugs were set to be hard to produce in numbers, even to the point where the creator may not be able to use it himself safely. I've lost, that would be my strategy's fault. Yu Feng was dressed in a white robe in his lab, swiftly pondering the reason for the loss. He's a spirit reader, his attack methods use spirit energy, then no matter how much I harm his body, with his willpower, he can still use spirit energy to control the Nanshan armament and attack me. Hence, my initial path of attack was right. I first have to affect his use of the Nanshan armament. One is to immediately use soul-affecting drugs, however my Kasiwo number 6 drug also failed. 2 is to pierce his mental state and affect his consciousness, affecting his control of the Nanshan armament from deep within. Yu Feng frowned and pondered, my thought process wasn't wrong, hence, there's only one reason. My drugs aren't strong enough. Yu Feng didn't think anymore. He immediately tapped in mid-air ahead of him and an extra huge screen appeared. On it were a blur of words. He then immersed himself back into his drug research. Chemists were lone warriors, they had to endure this loneliness too. Rather, in the vast universe, just the number of life forms alone was countless, much less the types of materials, like plants. Just that name alone, even if one recited for up to 100 million years, he wouldn't be able to recite all the types of plants in the universe. The many types of plants, metal, liquids, gas. Everything that could be discovered in the universe. Whether it was stars, planets, black holes and even microscopic life forms, everything was within a chemist's field of research. If a chemist was able to produce a black hole through his own methods, then that black hole would be one of his drugs. Naturally, that's an exaggerated example. Before a black hole, even the universe space would crumble, even an undying would sucked in and destroyed. Creating a black hole. The path of the chemist, till date there hasn't been one who's accomplished it. The universe was incredibly vast, with many generations of chemists one after another, however, they still felt as though there were countless paths for them to proceed on. Maybe there would come a day where some chemist would have some shocking discovery. He won. Luo Feng had defeated the chemist Yu Feng and acquired 4 consecutive wins. Luo Fu too had completed his 4th battle and defeated Long Yun. Hence, the two of them had 4 consecutive wins. The tens of thousands of core members in virtual universe companies Yuseong Mountain were all paying close attention to the upcoming match. Even the domain lords and sector lord level members were all awaiting this match. Because usually, halfway through the contest battles, they would be able to tell who would get the slot already. This time, however, it was actually up to the final match. This punk from the Ganwu universe country, he just joined the virtual universe company not long ago, only 200 years, and is actually able to attempt to enter the primal region. However, from the footage, Luo Fu is indeed very strong. After Luo Feng defeated Yu Feng, he sat quietly in his own study, 4 consecutive wins. It made him have the highest chance to enter the primal region. Wolfman Luo Fu. A majestic battle to settle this. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, almost like a mad golden horned beast. Luo Feng. A voice suddenly rang in his mind, making him stunned as he swiftly ran downstairs. There in the living room, Truyang Emperor stood in a simple golden long robe. Teacher. Luo Feng quickly bowed respectfully. Truyang Emperor carefully observed Luo Feng. A smile appeared on his face as he nodded, not bad, you've done very well this time. Your student hasn't entered the primal region, there's still one more battle. Luo Feng revealed helplessness, however this last battle, he doesn't have any guarantee at all. You've done well enough. Truyang immediately sat in the sofa and gazed at Luo Feng. You've had 4 consecutive wins this time. 1. The win over Bolin has proven you are the most exceptional in the batch of the genius competition. 2. The win over the primal region member Mo Luo has proven your strength is already primal region level. 3. The win over Yu Feng has proven that even such an exceptional chemist cannot find your weakness. Luo Feng stood at the side without any sense of pride. Truyang was surprised as he saw the situation. Normally when a teacher teaches a disciple, he worries that his student would get arrogant. But this disciple of his had been perpetually humble. Even when he complimented him, Luo Feng remained the same. But I don't have any guarantee of beating Luo Fu. Luo Feng was still completely immersed on his upcoming 5th match. Beating. Truyang laughed out loudly, his laughter rang out throughout the entire living room. Teacher. Luo Feng asked curiously. I've watched your entire qualification battles this time, hence I've seen the battle between you and Kuluo Fu. Truyang Emperor was filled with smiles. I dare say, he definitely has the ability now to pass the 8th level of the Heavenly Bridge. What? Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. Past the 8th level. Passing every level of the Heavenly Bridge was incredibly difficult. Within the entire Virtual Universe Company's universe-level core members, only the strongest Fei Tuor of the Primal Region had passed the 8th level. Fe Tuor, the one and only Wolfman, Kuluo Fu could pass the 8th level too. If others had said this, Luo Feng would have taken it as a joke, but this coming from his own teacher, the Undying being closest to becoming a universe country leader. I've seen the footage of the previous qualification battles of Kuluo Fu. He wasn't that strong before, his strength exploded within the past couple of hundred of years. Truyang sat there and gently sipped his tea, passing the 8th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Other than Fei Tuor, there's no other universe-level core members that can be his match. Luo Feng went silent. The news his teacher had brought was enough to shock him. Don't be dejected. Truyang Emperor laughed. This battle has already attracted the attention of many of the upper echelons of the Virtual Universe Company. The Wolfman, Kuluo Fu, is very exceptional, your improvement is very shocking too. Hence the two of you both have gained great recognition and attention. Even if you simply lose this round, I believe the next qualification battles you'll be able to make it into the Primal Region. Is it impossible this time? Luo Feng took a deep breath. Right? His own strength was already considered the pinnacle of the 7th level. The Wolfman, Kuluo Fu, was still able to completely suppress him. He indeed had the power to pass the 8th level. The final battle of the contest battles. Looks like I have to use that move. Luo Feng thought within, maybe I'll still have 30% chance to win. He had never used that move before, the cheating move of his. This video will end here.